Dear students, hope you are all well. So, students, in the last class, we learned about traditional agricultural work, and in that, we learned that the agriculture is first carried out in the traditional way of agriculture. In the traditional methods of agriculture, we seen plowing, tilling, etc. was done with the help of oxen. Then the next we learned was the improved methods of agriculture. In that we learned that the population of our country is increasing day by day, and still the needs of all the people are being met. This has been made possible only because of modern methods of agriculture. There are different modern methods of agriculture, and what all things you need for that is improved seeds, modern methods of irrigation, use of fertilizers, protection of crops, and storage of grains. Now, let us move further with the chapter. The next is food storage and conservation of environment. Students, as you know, we all have to store food at homes, shops, godowns, etc. There are different places. Like humans, other living things also store food, and each of them have a different way of doing it. Okay, as you can see in the picture, ants, they are always busy in collecting the food and storing. You must have seen in your house also, if there is anything fallen on the floor, they are always busy carrying their food and storing. The next is honeybees. They collect nectar from flowers and store it in a honeycomb, as you can see in the picture, in the form of honey. Do you know that honeybees, they live in a large groups? Honeybees always live in a large group, and they are called as colonies. Now, squirrels also, they store food, they collect and store nuts so that they will have food that lasts through winters. Let's move forward. Now, as we cook food for us, right? Similarly, the plants are also busy producing the food they need all the time. And this process of making food by the plants is called as photosynthesis. Okay? Even like humans and insects, plants also store food. As in the before slide we seen, the insects storing food. The same way, plants also store food. Storing the food help them to use it in winter and survive, because there very little sunlight is available. In the winters, mostly you'll find little sunlight. Okay, so plants store food in different parts of the plants, like in their leaves, stems, roots, or flowers. They store food in these parts, fruits or seeds. For example, they store food in bulbs such as onions and garlic. They store food in stems and tubers such as potatoes, ginger, etc. Let's move forward. Then the plants also store food in the roots, right? In the roots also they store food such as radishes, sweet potatoes, beetroots. So these plants store food in their stems or their roots. Let's move forward. As food is our basic need is also food. We too store food. We also store food, right, in our house? Yes. We too store food at home. So it is available to us whenever we need it. We can't go every time to the market. So we also store food. So whenever we need it, we can just remove it and take it. Okay. Let's move forward. Students, in part 1 of this lesson, we have learnt about improved methods of agriculture or cultivation. So, due to this, we now produce plenty of food grains. We produce plenty of food grains because of the improved methods of agriculture. And as population of our country is increasing and so its demand, now the production also exceeds the demand. The surplus food grain means the amount of food grain that is stored is in huge warehouses. Lots of food grains are stored in huge warehouses. Let's move forward. Sometimes production is affected. Sometimes the production is affected by disasters such as floods, drought, a cyclone, or hailstorm. At such time, what you can do? At such time, the stored surplus food grains can be used for the people. That means during the natural disaster, you can use these food grains which are stored in the warehouses, okay, for the people. It can also be used for people displaced due to disaster. That means during the disaster, if their houses are collapsed, you can use that food grains for those people, like an earthquake or floods. You can use those food grains for those people who are displaced. Let's move forward. Next is the Green Revolution. Today, and due to this, our country is self-reliant as far as production of food grain is concerned. Our country is self-reliant means we do not have to depend on other countries for food grains. We have enough food grains for us. We are also able to export the surplus grains. That means we also export the grains to other countries. The Green Revolution in India refers to a period when Indian agriculture was converted to an industrial system due to the adoption of modern methods and technology. Now, because of the modern methods and technology, our country is self-reliant in food grains. We do not have to depend on other country. Instead, we export the food grains to other countries. Due to the adoption of modern methods and technologies such as the use of improved seeds, what all things we use in these improved methods of agriculture? They are improved seeds, tractors, then the irrigation as we see in drip irrigation, sprinkle irrigation, right? Then the pesticides, different pesticides, use of fertilizers, etc. All these things we use in our modern methods of agriculture. The tremendous increase in food grain production in our country was achieved during the period of Green Revolution. That's why it's called as Green Revolution, because we have enough food grains for us, right? Let's move forward. Now see the picture of Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Green Revolution was brought about by the joint efforts of scientists, people working for the spread of science and farmers. Now the credit for this research that led to improvement in the seeds of different seeds. You need seeds to plant, right? Then only you will get good crops, right? Good harvest. So the credit for this research that led to improvement in the seeds of wheat and rice that resulted in the Green Revolution in India. Now, this credit goes to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. He is also known as the father of Green Revolution. The credit goes to him and to all the other scientists with him who did this research. Let's move forward. Next is food security. Now, as we all know, food is a basic need without which we cannot survive. That means we cannot live. Everyone should get food. Many countries have made laws to ensure that every person gets sufficient food. Every person gets the required food, okay, according to their need. These laws are known as food security laws. Then in then the food security laws. In 2013, our country too enacted a food security law. That means which aim was to provide subsidized food grains to approximately two-thirds of the India's population. That means the people who are poor in India. So what they did in 2013, they enacted a food security law where which who are poor people, they gave them food grains to eat. It has been made possible to fight ills like malnutrition. Ills means sickness. Like malnutrition, starvation. Starvation means hunger. And deaths due to hunger. Let's move forward. Next is Agricultural Assistance Program. Now, through this program, farmers are given proper information and guidance about the latest technology. Now, there is a program called as Agricultural Assistance Program. Now, through this program, the farmers are given some information and guidance about the latest technology, the improved technology of agriculture, the irrigation facilities, the improved seeds, how they have to use it. Through this program, they are given that information, the farmers. Use of fertilizers and pesticides, etc. They can also be given the weather forecast. They can also get weather forecast and other agricultural related information from this assistance centers. Let's move forward. Now, there are agricultural schools also. So, agricultural schools have also been started for farmers. In agricultural schools, members of a farmer's family, that means the farmer's children, they can go to these schools. So, the agricultural schools, members of a farmer's family can learn about new technology at these schools. Agricultural produce marketing committees hold exhibitions for farmers. So these agricultural schools are being kept for the members of the farmers family to learn about the latest technology, the improved agricultural technology. Let's move forward. Next is organic farming. Now, the farming that relies on natural and the organic materials is called as organic farming. Now, what is the organic farming? Which is available in nature. It is in a form of traditional agriculture. In this method, the nutritive substance in the soils are retained. I told you before also, natural and chemical. Which is more important in that? In natural, because you get from the nature. Okay, so in this method, the nutritive substance in the soils are retained, that means got back. This farming avoids or largely excludes the use of synthetic inputs like fertilizers and pesticides, etc. So natural fertilizers are always good as compared to the chemical fertilizers because we get it from the nature. Let's move forward. Then the organic pesticides used in these methods have no harmful effects on those who eat the produce because the organic pesticides used in these methods have no harmful effects. The grain grown by this method is nutritious and also good to taste. That is why farmers have begun to opt for organic farming methods. Let's move forward. The next is students always remember that crops should be watered only as much as necessary. How much the plant require, that much only water should be put. And care should be taken when using chemical fertilizers and pesticides because their overuse is not good for the crops. There should be care should be taken that chemical fertilizers and pesticides be put into a in required amount. It should not be put more. Okay, let's move forward. That's your homework. The first question is the tremendous increase in food grain production in our country is known as dash. Next is farming that relies on natural materials is called dash. And the next is what do you mean by food security law? That's all for now. Your chapter ends over here. We will learn the next chapter in the next video. Thank you for listening, children. Goodbye. Take care.